Burgundy, France, 1728. In the wee hours of the morning, a wee little lad was born, a lad that little did anyone there know would grow up to have one of the wildest stories ever. And more than that though, he would confuse literally every single person around him about what the gender he even was. So much so that there was a multi-nation-wide betting pool opened on whether he was even a man or not, because he was so overly feminine compared to every other man around him. In in 18th century France. You know when the male population looked like this. So basically like this. As a child, Charles D'Eon de Beaumont excelled in school and was actually a practicing lawyer and writer by the time he turned 20. In fact, there are accounts that the only question he ever got wrong on a test was this. I am not calling him that. That shit is too long, bro. Okay, that's better. But by a couple of years later, by the time he'd turned like 25, he'd already climbed basically every rung on the parasocial ladder. Parasocial ladder.
It's both me and Kaya with the marching band! Dude, yes, I'm seeing this, dude, that's crazy, I'm spamming W's right now!
To the point where he was being questioned on his sex very regularly, which was honestly just something he dealt with throughout basically his entire life, including from, Louis XV, you know, the King of France himself, who in 1756, at the start of the 7 Years' War, which was a conflict that would become very important in D'Eon's life pretty soon, would invite him to a big, fancy royal party, where Louis apparently tried to seduce him, thinking he was a woman. Which of course makes no fucking sense, because, you know, he was the one that invited him. So I guess it was kind of like that time that my uncle swore he thought I was 18, right underneath the big happy 9th birth. So a little while after the party, Louis would get in contact with D'Eon again and request for him to join Le Secret de... I don't fucking know how you would say that in French. The real secret is why anyone would want to speak French, which was like a secret network of spies that was entirely separate from the government and under direct control of Louis XV. So imagine kind of like totally spies, but like make them men. I didn't say make them look different. So since you've already proven to be a master of deception, able to trick even my royal eye, and trick anything, okay? You knew I was a guy. No. You literally said, it's ironic we call them feels because that's the last thing I do to a girl. And then you said and then you said facts when someone said that the gas in garçon must mean turn. You literally introduced yourself by saying that they call you that because you've had a little wee-wee in your mouth 15 times. That's a fruit from One Piece, okay? The wee-wee fruit. You're a fruit. You know what? Just for that, I'm sending you to Russia for your first mission. Besides, they've got a fucking female emperor anyway. Fucking soft-ass girly country, perfect for a softy bitch like you. So D'Eon was sent on his first diplomatic mission to the soft-ass girly country of Russia, where he went undercover as a woman, becoming the Tsar's maid of honor. And they did all the normal girl stuff. You know, makeup, giggling, men discussing where they would send hundreds of thousands of those men to die. Man, thank God Russia had a female ruler at the time. They might have started a war there. Anyway, while he was there, D'Eon also convinced Elizabeth to broker an alliance between the French and Russians and stopped her from attacking the French-allied Austrians, which would cement the Russian Empire firmly on the side of the French against the English. But by the early 1760s, the 7 Years' War had reached its peak and Russia was still bleak, so D'Eon got it in his head that he wanted to be a soldier and fight on the front lines. I'm assuming because he just added sway a massive empire to his country's side onto the win list, but yeah, this was not a good idea. He was just cocky as shit. Oh, what? Dude, no way. Because his tenure as a soldier didn't go well. It started successfully enough, with D'Eon being given the title of captain and fighting in quite a few battles, during which he actually built up a pretty decent reputation, even capturing a small Prussian force. But a couple of months after joining, he was seriously injured during his last battle, and considering his history up until this point, this was probably the first time that D'Eon had been truly humbled. Ah, hello there, your majesty. It has been quite a while. I must not have seen you in an eon. Hey, unfortunately. You should have seen the way he captured that Prussian squad. He took probably 1,000 men at once. This was just very unfortunate that he was shot, but he took those pair of balls to the backside like a champion. So D'Eon would be forced to sit on the sidelines and watch as Louis and the French defeated the English, finally ending the 7 Years' War. But at least they could all return to their ordinary lives. Oh, dude, the meme's already dead. I'm sorry, I only have a budget of like $3. I only have less in my piggy bank. Why are you hating on me? See, look, it's your mom. Oh, look, it's my dick. So yeah, as I was saying, D'Eon had to sit on the sidelines and watch as Louis won the war while he was just, you know, doing nothing. Probably exceedingly pissed off. But regardless, D'Eon was about to be sent back to Russia to continue his old position, serving under the new Tsar, Peter III, when the strangest thing happened. His wife deposed him. Which seems like an odd thing for a member of the gender that can do nothing wrong to do. Maybe she just like asked him not. Ooh. Yikes. So instead, D'Eon was given a new mission. Okay, what do I have to do? Me. Dude, could you please stop? That wasn't even funny, it was just tasteless. What? Tasteless? Please don't. So D'Eon was sent to England to help finalize Louis's treaty to end the 7 Years' War, as well as gather intel for an invasion that the king was planning by weaseling his way into the English nobility and becoming buddy-buddy with King George. Anyway, of course, as you and probably Louis would expect, a soft and feminine femboy Frenchie like D'Eon in England would be absolutely fucking great. Yeah, fuck you, buddy. D'Eon actually had a great time in England, probably because one, like the grand old time he had in Russia, he was keyword, not in France, and therefore not near Louis, and because two, his mission was f***ing easy, dude. So yeah, D'Eon would very, very easily succeed in his mission because the British public were, on basically every level, exceedingly simple, and they also really liked him. Not to mention the fact that D'Eon kinda liked them back. It was like taking candy from a diabetic baby with no arms or legs. That's also dead. Wow, you look just like women. Yeah, I know. No, you're way too f***ing pretty for that. Nah, mate, women are bare butters. Sounds like a Care Bear. I was gonna say attractive. Oh my god, this is gonna be f***ing easy. Okay, so what do you need me to do? I'm a published writer, so can you spell? Oh, and can you also read specifically the writing on the wall? There you are, your majesty. Beautifully aged wine, fresh from the vines of my estate. Ah, delicious. And, what percent was this made with again? Oh, 13%. Ugh! Dude, what the hell? 13% alcohol is like completely normal. Wait, what do you mean alcohol? So yeah, D'Eon would find himself slipping into the nobility via gifts of wine, and also because of his minor celebrity status, which he was garnering by going about his days, showing off his military outfit and dueling skills to basically everyone that would listen, and generally just being a unique figure in England. Literally. Basically, to summarize, probably against everyone's, including his own expectations, D'Eon had made a comfortable home in his new country. But unfortunately, as D'Eon was living it up in England, he forgot one crucial, critical fact about England. It's right next to France, where Louis's hater mindset would simply not just allow D'Eon to be happy. So he sent over one of D'Eon's rivals in the court of France, the Count of Guerchy, who he'd installed as the new ambassador, and he also came with orders demoting D'Eon to the position of secretary and ordering his return to France, because of course Louis would want his ass at secretary. Actually, let's be real. Scratch off the at secretary. So when D'Eon was finally fully happy and living his best life, Louis just had to him over. D'Eon had finally found a comfortable place to live and just relax after the war, and Louis just had to him over. So of course, with this last, final you, D'Eon got pissed. Seriously pissed. He sent the king a letter demanding to be given his position back and claiming that Guerchy had attempted to drug him, and in response Louis basically just said, LMAO, I'd do the same thing, now shut up and get that cute ass back here, thinking absolutely nothing of it. Until just a little while later when he would get back D'Eon's final letter. After years of dealing with his bullshit, D'Eon would finally take a stand against Louis and adamantly refuse to return to France. Of course, this would not go over even remotely well with the king, so he started quickly writing up and publishing the letters that he and Louis had exchanged since his demotion under Guerchy, as well as the Count's alleged attempts to drug and murder D'Eon. Of course, because D'Eon had become kind of a beloved figure in England, this sent the English public into a rage, and a mob would form and gather outside the ambassador's house, essentially trapping him inside. And not only that, but D'Eon would threaten to release all of Louis's designs for the planned invasion straight to the English king. The furious king, seemingly in desperation, would outlaw D'Eon, who would quickly slip back into his role as a woman, becoming basically undetectable to the few in England that would even try to hand him in. At this point, D'Eon was probably exceedingly confident, but Louis would then use his ace in the hole to show why you should not try and over the King of France. Louis would demand that King George return D'Eon to the hands of the French immediately, unless he wanted to suffer the full wrath of the King of France. You know, the nation that had just defeated England in the 7 Years' War. And of course, up until this point, D'Eon had deluded himself into thinking that he could basically wage war with the crown of France. But let's be real. Without an army, that was not happening. Louis would quickly get back George's letter, in which he would submit to the authority of the one true power in Europe. The king in England completely and utterly refused to hand D'Eon over to the French crown. So with D'Eon untraceable somewhere in England, King George refusing to cooperate, and Louis's greatest connection in England held hostage in his own home, he was in an unwinnable situation. D'Eon had essentially checkmated his own king, and Louis would have no option but to submit to his demands. D'Eon would force Louis to return Guerchy to France, so that's a win-win, I guess, as well as restore him to his position as ambassador and supply him with a large pension. And with that, with the war over and Louis taken care of, D'Eon would return to his comfortable life in England, a free man, going about his days drinking wine, dueling, and hanging out with the nobles, because he's just so quirky like that. XD. While Louis would spend the rest of his days watching over his grandson and successor, who had kind of the same issue as him. He also didn't get any head. In fact, he got negative head. It kind of turned into this whole thing. It was pretty bad. Actually, it was really bad. Fuck. The peasants are revolting. When are they not? My wife is too busy kissing women and and wanting to give bread away to the poor. I don't do either of those. How could France possibly get any worse? So I guess if you take all that into consideration, maybe Louis did get what he wanted. Because D'Eon f***ed him. If that was even possible, which it might not be, because holy f***, D'Eon might be a woman. No! So not long after he beat Louis, rumors actually started to swirl around both London and France that D'Eon actually wasn't an unusually feminine man, but an unusually masculine woman. Oh no! This probably came from the fact that, one, they were in England, and trying to differentiate between an English woman and an English man is like trying to find a needle in a needle stack. It's confusing, painful. They're less pricks than one would imagine, which means that the British, when it comes to the whole judging gender thing, might have had it a little twisted. And two, they would, and when I say they, I mean D'Eon, like I said before, sometimes wear their army uniform around the place while also wearing women's clothes. So yeah, it kind of turned into this whole thing. This whole thing. And so, men or women? You're probably wondering what the answer is. And bro, I don't Allen Iverson? Yeah, I have no fucking idea. We know that they were biologically male because of like autopsies and stuff, which like, do not let me near that position, or I will put the top in autopsy. So they were either like a femboy or a trans woman. So definitely going to hell. But yeah, I don't think there's really any way to tell, because D'Eon seemed okay with living as both a guy or a girl, and also never just, you know, did the obvious thing and pick up the dress to confirm. I also don't think they ever confirmed their gender in their memoirs, other than saying that they were biologically female. Which, no. So, yeah, we truly just don't know what D'Eon was. Other than just extraordinarily weird, like, all of this actually happened. Like, I felt like I was writing a fiction book when I wrote this.
He's poor. For me, he's poor. Okay? Poor! Poor! Okay? I'm sorry. Many people will not agree with this. Many people say, are you insane?
Dick gang in my ass at all times. I don't know who I fucked last night, but they all guys. I don't know who I fucked last night, but they all fine. I don't know who I fucked last night. They probably got Alzheimer's.